On Sunday, 4 seed Maryland will take on 12 seed Colorado State. Both of these teams got pretty emphatic wins in the round of 64. Colorado State came from behind to overthrow a Memphis team that sort of had their way on the interior to start the game. But a flurry of threes, some great defense down the stretch, got the Rams the win. Maryland, on the other hand, was just about dominant from start to finish against Grand Canyon. You could tell the physicality, the defense, just the way that they really dictate how their opponents play on that end of the floor. And of course, they have the shooting and the size in the front court that just make them a hard out for anybody. But Dion, what do you think what do you think decides this game between Colorado State and Maryland?
I, Nick Clifford, I guess. I feel like Maryland, like you're gonna get the crab five are gonna go crazy.
Hmm.
And I think you just have to accept that. Like you're gonna get a lot out of Gillespie, you're gonna get a bunch out of Julian, you're gonna get a bunch out of Derek. Like, but who's gonna answer the bell for Colorado State? And Neek wasn't the greatest. Neek is such a fire name, by the way. Is that short for something? It's not, right?
Let me look this up. You keep talking. I will do the stats and research and make sure we know his full government name and how that affects our perception.
But they got a lot from Kion Edwards against Memphis. Didn't get anything from Neek. That can't happen again.
Hmm.
I do believe to win this game, Colorado State's gonna have to get into the 80s. They weren't far off, by the way. The 78 against Memphis is not like they need much more from Neek. But you got to get something from him that'll kind of be the determining factor of this game, in my opinion, because you know what you're going to get out of Maryland's best players.
Yeah, I think that's well said. To where all five of those guys pretty consistent. I would say Rodney Rice has a little bit of volatility. There are some games where he shoots like 1 for 6, others where he hits 7 for 10. Bad news for Colorado State. Rice was 1 for 6 in the first round against Grand Canyon, and he kind of alternates good games with bad games. So it might be like a 5-6 made triples performance from Rice in this one. But yeah, Neek, whose full name is Dominique Akai Clifford. Fire name. I like going by Neek though. Neek's a good move. Definitely distinguishes you. You can't, like I said in the recap of that game against Memphis, that I was super impressed with everything else he did. That's
Mhm.
sort of been his MO. He averages over 4 assists on the season, but like he was really good running in transition, creating for his teammates, still rebounded, but shot 3 for 13. And just against a team like Maryland, who is they're so well balanced on both ends of the court. Like their offense is top 20, their defense is sixth in the country, seventh by some metrics. You just really have to be on your A game because it's a nearly dominant team that's underseeded. And even if I could give a stat that I think decides this one, Colorado State all season has been really good at getting points in the paint. 2 point field goal percentage is top 30 in the country. That's exactly where I would say Maryland excels defensively. They run that two big lineup. Both of those guys are so physical, and I would say like they have positional size in the backcourt as well. Like Rodney Rice, Selton Miguel, those dudes have enough length to stay in front of their man and cause you issues too. And even going back to that game against Grand Canyon, take it for what it's worth. It's Grand Canyon, but you could look at this throughout the Big Ten too. They did this to plenty of Big Ten opponents. They're so good at just taking away shots at the basket, at making you uncomfortable. And Colorado State's a team that's big on ball movement. I think that's been a staple of Nico Medved's offense during his time there. Maryland's really good at taking you out of that. They force you to beat them one on one. They're so fundamental in making sure they're not getting backdoor cut to death or anything like that. Like they're bigs. Like Julian Reese can disrupt certain actions. Like if you play him in drop coverage, he's got the wingspan to do that. And Derek Queen's a really good defender around the basket as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that ultimately is like how does Colorado State get some easy baskets in this one?
No idea. Nah, honestly, I do. I do. They have a lot of talent. They have a lot of individual guys that can go get you one. You're completely right. Everything Maryland did is something they've done in the Big Ten. So you can't point to, oh, we played Grand Canyon. Also, like, love Colorado State. How much worse is like, or how much better is anybody in the Mountain West than Grand Canyon is? Like, they probably aren't, to be honest, right? Like, the level of opponent in a Grand Canyon game isn't terribly far off, like some of the levels of opponent Colorado State has had. It also push comes to shove, it might not be far off Colorado State either, right? Like that's
Hmm.
to be determined, I guess, on Sunday. But I think Colorado State with Neek, with Kion, they have a lot of guys that can go get buckets individually. I don't think Grand Canyon did.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest difference is I watched Colorado State have multiple guys that can dribble the basketball. I watched Grand Canyon have multiple guys that didn't want to dribble the basketball. It's a massive difference between the two.
Sometimes basketball is really simple when you put it in those terms, though. Like it is that like they do have a lot of guys who you either trust with the ball in their hands, or even someone like Jalen Crocker Johnson, the lefty. Like that dude, his highlights are literally just top of the key threes. That's what he's there for, like a play finisher type. Rashawn Mimba is just another one of those glue guys who knows what he's in there to do. He's in there to finish shots around the basket and draw fouls. Like they all know their role so well. Again, I think it's a huge credit to Nico just in like he's a really good roster builder. I think that bodes favorably for Minnesota whenever the time comes for him to, to go throw the Golden Gopher hat on. But of course, we're thinking one day at a time here, one win at a time, survive in advance. But
Hey, losing coach gets to leave, right? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding,
all
Grant.
right.
I'm kidding. I'm
I didn't even
kidding.
think about that. Yeah, man, all my videos are running together when I was workshopping my theory about coaches that are leaving. But but yeah, I do think even with what you're like, this is going to be a different look for Maryland. However, it's going to be way tougher than the Grand Canyon one. However, like done this at a high level, even though we don't really like, I'm not entirely seeing an easy path for them to get easy buckets in this one for the Rams. But just the fact that they have guys who know their role makes me optimistic they'll figure it out, if that makes sense.
I mean, the route is unique,
Yeah, that's
right?
fair. I
Like,
guess
like
maybe we don't need to overcomplicate it. Maybe it is just like give Neek ball, get out way, finish play when Neek passed to me. You
I
know?
mean, Neek is a legitimate 20 point per game scorer nearly, right? Like he
Hmm.
averaged 19 a game this season with 10 boards and 4 assists. There's how you go get an easy bucket.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
just has to show up. Like I feel like because he played at Colorado State in the Mountain West, not really on like the national scale, and then had a very lackluster first game in March Madness. It's like, well, what is he gonna do? Just be
Hmm.
yourself, Nick. Just be you.
I'm with you on that. I would expect him to bounce back in a big way for this one. It's honestly should be like, for especially the NBA draft folks out there, tune into to who gets the better. Well, obviously they won't be guarding each other, but who ends up showing out more between him and Derek Queen? Because these are two guys who will probably be like top 20 picks.
Derek Queen wants to go top 10. He should guard Nick a little.
Oh, I want to see that. I want to
Because
see that.
if he proves he can guard Neek, the question mark with any big man in any draft coming out of college to the NBA is can you guard guards? Or can any or wings, what however you want to describe it. Can you switch? Because in the NBA, you're gonna switch. And granted, Neek isn't Steph Curry, Neek isn't Kevin Durant, Neek isn't Luca, he's not any of these guys. But if Derek Queen can switch on to Neek every once in a while and get a couple stops, them NBA draft scouts will be drooling.
I want to see it. I want to see it. I'm not. I love Derek Queen. I'm not entirely hopeful it works out for him, but I do have something, Dion. We could talk score predictions, but I found something that might have, if you weren't already on Maryland, which I think that's probably where you're leaning. I think that's where I'm leaning as well. As much as I love this Colorado State team, this might get you to go full Maryland Terps. A quick Twitter search of Neat Clifford. I came across an NBA draft account. Their comp for Neat Clifford is Jumbo Brandon Podziemski.
Yeah. Now, AirPods been hooping. AirPods been hooping. Let me not be mad at AirPods. AirPods been hooping, but yuck.
I want better for Neek than that. I need like I told you he was the next Iguodala. I need another Warriors wing. Um,
Listen,
yeah,
Pods is in the league. He's gonna be in the league for a little bit.
that's true. That's
I
fair. I
think I
mean,
think I think if we told Neek he could have Brandon Podziemski's career in the NBA, I think he would take it.
that's a fair point. I don't know. I just have higher hopes for him because I love his game. But
No,
anyway,
that's fair too. I just think like when they're in college, we have such high hopes for guys, and then
mhm.
once they get to the league, it's like, well. he would have taken Anthony Morrow's career.
Yeah, it's like, oh right, everybody's really good here.
Yeah.
It's all right. Kim Palm has this game projected for Maryland to eke out a 76-69 win, just over a two possession game. How do you see this one shaking out? You think it's as close as that? Do you think Maryland can run away with it, or do you think Colorado State could even shock the world?
Um, I have to admit that does feel like a lot of points, but
Hmm.
it also doesn't. So I think I'm
Hmm.
going to take Maryland. I think this game gets a little closer to that the Grand Canyon game than it does like the Colorado State Memphis, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would lean closer to the Grand Canyon type of outlook as opposed to like a real back and forth game as well. That being said, I don't think it gets quite that ugly. To me, it feels like Maryland wins by like 12 to 15. And they're probably, I kind of envision them keeping Colorado State at arm's length really the whole game, unless we just see another Kyan Evans masterclass. But yeah, it feels like a game where Maryland probably salts it away at the free throw line down the stretch, and they're in a position to do so. But whatever happens afterward, we got you covered on the recap. Got you covered for every game in this tournament. So make sure you're staying tuned to see guys like me and Dion and Carter and Greg occasionally, even with a new baby. Guy, Connor Hope representing the West Coast teams. Fun crew we
Brian
have.
Rao.
What'd you say?
Brian Rao.
Yeah, I feel threatened by Rouse sometimes. I mentioned him last.
Is that like a
White boy, white
that
guys
a
from the
Southern
South.
thing?
Yeah. But yeah, we got a good crew who's got you covered for the whole tournament. So make sure you stay tuned.
It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.